My name is Mary Lee Terry, and I've been a member of this church since it first started. We started at a ballroom on the highway to begin with. And we were there for a while and they sold out. We've been to a few other things. Then we moved. They bought Father Fannin a home. We had to go there to have Mass until the church hall was finished, Fannin Hall. Then we moved in Fannin Hall. And right away, Father fixed up the ladies for an altar society. We needed an altar society. So I wasn't the first president. One of the presidents there I was in my 50, not quite 50, or a little over 50. And the president said, I'm too old to be president. Well, I said, how old? She says, I'm 45. So she looked at it a different way than I did. I felt the 45. She felt my over 50. So after that, we just got the altar society sort of run the church. Back then, the little storage room now was the altar. So everything was in the church, the chairs were there, but it became home to every one of us. And the altar society was, Father Fannin had told me one time, I'm more afraid of you than I am with a bishop, because we'd tell him what we had to do and what we needed to do. And he went along with us. He was a great priest, and we all appreciated him. From there on, the altar society took over, and the ladies worked at the Moore Company in Mobile. So they worked with clothing, jackets, and they'd bring home scraps of material. So we worked every week making pillows, little animals, and all kind of little crafty stuff. And before it was over with, we had the big bazaar, and that's where we had our money. And I even remember in Father, back there we stored everything. Even the holy water was stored in that little back room at the back of the hall. And I said to Father one day, I said, Father, does that holy water get bad if we don't? And he just laughed at me. I don't think he ever answered me. But from that time on, the altar society was the church. And then eventually it became everything else. But our biggest thing was we did the St. Joseph altar. And at the time we did it, Hank Zuber is our representative, and Hank loved the St. Joseph altar. So he always donated us. Well, one year I didn't see him, and he came up and he said something about, I gave the money to the one at the desk, at the front there. And I said, oh, Hank, that'll go to one of the other organizations. Well, he was upset about that. He went there and got the $100 back and gave it to our organization. And in the years that we've been here, I've really enjoyed. We bought the linens, but only what Father said it was okay. We got the type of linens we needed. Sometimes we had to change his mind, but if it was a church rule or law, we couldn't change our mind, which we didn't. But I enjoyed working with my priest, and I always called them Father, but they were the best friends I had in the world. And I got to give the people credit that was in our altar society. We wouldn't be where we were without the ladies that worked and made gifts. It was just home. It was something we looked forward to and something we really enjoyed, even with the hard work. I remember when we had so few at first, that I had no help. I come in and set out everything at church. And I know there were others that did the same thing. And right now, and I appreciate every one of us. So the Altar Society, like Father Fannin had said, he don't know what he'd done without the Altar Society attending to the church. And the Altar Society is still active, but we do have so much any other branches of the church that the Altar Society's role became a little less as the new organizations took older. So, but anyone that's new in our church now, I just want you to know it's been a marvelous background. This is my church family. The people I sat in front of at church, I've known them all along, but we almost a family. And I'm lost when I do not go to church that Sunday. I must say, I'm really proud to be a member of St. Elizabeth Seton. And of course, what makes me prouder is she is our first American saint. I just want everybody to know that our first saint is with us, and she'll always be with us. But then she's never with us without God to lead us. So I thank you. I appreciate being interviewed, and I hope that she gets out some good ideas that she gives everybody of how great we got St. Elizabeth Seton Catholic Church.
My name is John Rivera. I've been a parishioner since September of 1986, when this church had not been built. And we were using the hall as the church for Sundays. And Father Fannin approached my wife to get on the building committee. And my wife said, "No, I've got the 3 children to raise. But my husband can do that." And Father approached me after that and says, "Your wife tells me that you took 2 semesters of stained glass building in college." And I said, "Yes, I did." He says, "Good, you are on the stained glass committee. And because of that, we have these stained glass windows." I didn't build them, but we had a committee of 8, and we selected the contractor, and they brought a number of designs, and we added a few things of our own, such as the 4 apostles. And that was the beginning of my involvement with the church here. I'd been involved in churches wherever I was since I was in the Air Force, but this became home after that. And I really, really enjoyed being here, raising my kids here. Now my kids are bringing their kids here, which I think is absolutely wonderful. The key thing for anybody is get involved. Start a little with a little thing, and I guarantee it will expand. Like the quotation about the mustard seed growing into the biggest tree. That's what this church has been for me.
Hi, I'm Linda Holtorf.
And I'm Ron Holtorf.
We're long-term members of St. Elizabeth Seton. It started back in 1977 when we started dating. And after a few months of dating, getting to know each other, we both discovered that we were both Catholic. So we started attending Mass together. In 78, after we graduated, we did get married in the church when Fannin Hall was the new church. And after that, we had moved away for a while, about 9.5 years, moved back with 2 children who we raised here in the Catholic Church and made their sacraments here. And then our youngest daughter came along, and she was raised here. We now have a few of our grandchildren that have been in our religious ed classes and made their sacraments. And during my journey, I had been a volunteer with religious ed. And after Deacon Martin retired, I applied for the job and I was able to be the DRE or PRC. And I was with Religious Ed as an employee for 17 years. I retired in 2022. And I still come back to volunteer with different things. This parish is our home. It will always be our home. And we are so happy that we are able to watch it grow and for people to come back. We learn, meet new people and see more people that volunteer. Happy anniversary, St. Elizabeth Ann Seton.
I'm Miles Talley. I'm 16 years old, and I've been going to St. Elizabeth's for as long as I can remember. One of my favorite memories here is when at our youth lock-ins we have we do a glow-in-the-dark rosary, and one of my favorite memories is my brother teaching me how to pray the rosary while doing it. And then one of my other favorite ones is my friend. I would explain to him parts of the Mass because he was being new to the faith. And then we were at a lock-in, and I heard him explaining the parts of the Mass to our other friend. So I just thought it was like a full circle moment. I'm definitely looking forward to confirmation because I feel like that I'll just learn so much stuff that I don't already know. And then I'm also looking forward to once I get out of youth group and I graduate school and I keep coming back to this church, I'm looking forward to see the new that would come to youth group, the new kids, grow. And so I just want to watch them come from where I was to now where I am. A word that sticks out to me about St. E's is St. E's is what we call St. Elizabeth. That's what the youth call it. A word that sticks out to me is family, because I feel like I've just made so many memories with my family, like my brother, and then my friends that I would call my family because of the memories we've had here.
Hey, I'm Kelly Roberts. I've been a parishioner here since 1990. I grew up in the Iveville Sacred Heart. Then I lived in Moss Point, went to Sacred Heart over there, and actually Pascagoula. And then we moved over here, and I've been here ever since then. I'm a charter member of the Knights of Columbus. I helped start the council out here. I worked my way up through the council. I was officer, financial secretary. I was Grand Knight, deputy Grand Knight. I was actually district deputy for a year. I've been member of the St. Vincent de Paul's. I've been on the parish council. I've been here since Father Kitchen was here and Deacon Martin. And then I did try to teach CCD one time, and it didn't work out for me. I helped. I support the youth group back when we had the Life Team. We were members here back then. This has been a very friendly, family-oriented parish. We used to have a big group that was in the military. They would be here for a few years and they get transferred and leave. And I made a lot of friends from the military through the parish. We used to have all kind of our young Air Force people who was into softball and just all kind of activities, and they all moved away, so that kind of went away. We do have a chili cook-off coming up. I'm not getting in it because I didn't even get an honorable mention last year. So I would encourage everybody that just thinks they might want to be a member of an organization to step up. Don't think that just because somebody is the president that you can't be president. Don't think just because somebody's Grand Knight that you can't be Grand Knight. And it's a learning experience, and it's a very, very religious experience. But I do encourage everybody to be active in whatever you feel like you want to do. Step up and do it.
My name is Hannah Bolner Tremuta, and I've been a parishioner here at St. Elizabeth Seton since 2001. That's when my family moved here. One memory from the younger years I thought of was Vacation Bible School, and my mom was director for a couple years, maybe 2, maybe 3, and it was really neat to see different members of the parish who I hadn't met before necessarily come together, whether it was building a set out of, junkyard wood they found, or developing snacks for little kids. But it was special to see how everybody brought together their time, their talents, whatever they had, some extra fabric in their attic. They brought what they had, and it was a lot of time, but it was important to, have the product of a memorable event for the littlest people of our parish. So one year we were doing a Olympic Games theme, and we were all painting thousands of little faces. So it looked like it had transformed into a stadium. Another event that was a really great memory was the Epiphany Party, and I hope that someone brings that back. So my mother and Linda Holtorf, I believe, and some other parishioners decided that they wanted a time to celebrate the Epiphany feast in early January, and it became like a variety show of sorts. The youth did something, and it was actually lip syncing a song and kind of acting it out, and it was just kind of a intimate setting that you hadn't really had before, to get to know your parish members a little bit better in a different way. As a teenager, St. Elizabeth Seton was my favorite place to be besides my own home. Even when I was at school, I would gravitate towards my youth group friends, because we just enjoyed spending so much time together. And, sometimes we went through a lot of different things together, or trips, but it's special because I'm still friends with some of those people today. We got married here at this parish, and then some of them, we've had our children baptized here. I remember we would get ready for the diocesan youth celebration. I think it's DBYC now. And we would make a huge banner or a photo board, and some people that you wouldn't even think of would have these fantastic ideas, and some people had really good brainstormers, and other people were really good at meticulously doing a menial task of gluing photos on a board or something. But everybody just came together and gave it their all so that we could kind of showcase the identity of our youth group the best to people that maybe didn't know us in the whole diocese. So I love those memories. When my husband and I were preparing for marriage, he's from Alabama, and I had lived in Biloxi for a little while, and we were going back and forth about, well, are we going to attend Mass and live in Alabama or in Ocean Springs or somewhere along the Gulf Coast? And we made a joke about kind of parish hopping and see where we wanted to go. We had chosen to live in Ocean Springs, and so St. Elizabeth Seton became our parish home, and it still is to this day, where we find our children running up and down the aisle sometimes. My hope for our parish in the future is that we continue to be like a welcoming beacon for those that visit us or are looking for a church home and maybe don't feel connected elsewhere. Although I feel some of our founding members or the really special people of our parish have gone before us in the last 5 to 10 years especially, which just is kind of a hard hit. I know that we have to continue their legacies and foster sense of faith in our children. And there's a quote that says it all. I don't know the author, but it's you may be the only gospel that someone reads today. You may be the only Jesus that someone meets today. And I think that's really poignant for us to remember, as well as that St. Teresa of Avila said that we are the hands and feet of Christ on earth. So that's why I love our parish.
I'm JC Carroll, and I've been a parishioner here ever since I was born. And my parents and grandparents also were parishioners here. I found my best friends in this church, and all of my grandparents' friends are all like so sweet and give me hugs every time I see them, and it just makes my whole day. I hope the youth group continues to grow, because I know that's been like a big thing in my life. The very first lock-in, actually, whenever me, Ava, AT, I think it was Max, we all stayed up all night long, and we just sat there and talked, and we all like got deep with each other, like even talking about our faith, and I'll like never forget that. And also just slipping psychic bowl was fun. I feel like so many things have fallen into place for my faith to be where it is today, like from the people, from where my grandparents went, to the friends I have now, to youth, to the people in youth. Like, I feel like it's just definitely where the Holy Spirit wants me to be, to grow closer to God. This is the place where I want to like grow up and go to church, and I want like all my sacraments to be here, and I want my family to go here whenever I get older, and I want to get married here. It just, I don't know, it makes me happy.
St. Elizabeth once said, "Oh my God, forget what I have been, correct what I am, and direct what I shall be." When St. Elizabeth Seton Catholic Church was founded 50 years ago, it was by people. These people came through the darkness of their time. World War II, the Korean War, and the war in Vietnam. They recovered from Hurricane Camille, the worst of its time. They watched as humans landed and walked on the moon. And they saw how human rights issues can both cause division and bring healing. And we can wonder, what did our founders wish to be better for themselves, their families, and for the generations to come? For the past 50 years since the founding, St. Elizabeth and the Diocese of Biloxi witnessed similar world events. They watched the fall of the Berlin Wall and the end of the Cold War. They remember the horror of 9/11 and Hurricane Katrina. And they endured the COVID pandemic. Worst of all, the close of Christendom. St. Elizabeth continued to bring the sacraments through all of it. Reflect for a moment on the number of baptisms and marriages. Think of the reconciliations and anointings, all of the healing, and the countless miracles of the Holy Eucharist to the parishioners of Ocean Springs. And today, St. Elizabeth Seton Catholic Church continues to evangelize her parishioners to bring the good news to our modern culture. We can wonder who will be our next priests, deacons, ministry leaders, saints. Blessed, blessed 1,000 times be God who governs all and will bring light out of darkness. Amen.